Welcome to I Heart Geek.
And welcome to another episode of I Heart
All
Geek.
by myself.
So one of these days we're going to release all the pre-show conversations we have.
Oh my God.
I'm not.
No, we're
because
not.
I would get in so much trouble for.
No, there's a lot of swearing, listeners. That happens usually
there is
before
no
the
family
camera
friendly.
starts to rip.
We have to get it all out.
No. Snow White.
So if
if
you'd
Snow
like-
White had a potty mouth, it would be me.
If you'd like to see footage, send a petition.
Please go
Around,
on
start training
Patreon.
it.
Go
That's
join our
where we'll put the
Patreon.
dirty
Maybe I
stuff
will
in.
release that.
Ooh, Patreon only.
I will release anything on Patreon. Oh my gosh, I am such a.
Okay, we have that
Wow.
recorded. We have that
Yeah.
recorded.
Yes.
I have
Okay.
no
Yep.
issue with that. Okay, so today we are talking about fashion throughout, starting at the 50s and going on. Yeah, I have a feeling I know where we're going to stay in
You'll
our
be fine.
conversation, but we'll see where it goes. I'm Dub. I am the least fashionable person in this room. I'm here with
As
Christina.
evidenced by your hat.
This hat is freaking cool. Shut
Ooh.
up. This is
I had to
cool.
say it. I had to.
That
You
hurts.
walked into it. You walked
See, that's the
into
problem
it.
with fashion. Everyone's got their own opinion. And you
You
know,
walked
Ours
into
is
it.
everyone
right.
else's is wrong. You know, it's all good.
Right.
And then we also have Michelle and I don't know, Courtney, I guess.
The snarky one.
I guess. This
Yep.
episode is brought to you by Nerd Fashion. It's a choice and it's valid. Yeah.
Just means you have a lot of nerd
Actually, can-
t-shirts.
Can we talk about this just for a second with Nerd Fashion?
No.
Well, we're gonna do it anyway.
Okay.
Starting, wow, you are just rotten today.
I'm
Whatever
on
you're
today.
whatever you're drinking today, stop. Okay.
Coffee,
Keep
and I took the dog for a
going.
walk this morning. So sorry, listeners.
So the hybrid nerd fashion that we always see in TV, starting in the 70s all the way up, it always looks exactly the same. And I don't know where they get it from. The high-waisted pants that go all the way up to the rib
Urkel.
cage.
I would even go farther and say like the 50s, because that's the stuff that like Jerry Lewis was wearing in the Nutty
Yeah,
Professor,
It's exactly the same.
and like Tommy Kirk was wearing in the Misadventures of Marlon Jones, and like in the Nutty Professor, or not the Nutty,
Yeah.
the Absent-Minded Professor.
The black horn
Yeah.
glasses
Yeah.
with the tape. Always got to have the tape in the middle.
Yep. It's always a tape, because that's.
And
I
Growing
have
up,
never broken my glasses in the middle. Has anybody else ever broke the glasses in the middle?
I have,
Just asking.
Figures.
but I'm a
asking.
nerd, so hey.
Right.
But I want to know where they came up with this this is the nerd uniform. And I've never seen anyone really wearing that kind of stuff, but you always knew who kind of would growing up in high school. I don't know where
Yeah.
anybody have any ideas on where all that? Well, Jerry Lewis, it's all Jerry Lewis.
I don't know. I mean, there was probably some guys in the scientific community at the time who sort of kind of looked like that, and then Hollywood took it and decided to take it to the next level,
Get
like
some Revenge of
hiking
the
the
Nerds,
pants,
yeah.
hiking the pants way up, and everything like that. And then it just stuck as the stereotypical. This is how we costume
Yeah.
a nerdy scientist, because I mean, like there are more than, not all nerds are scientists and not all scientists are nerds, but I mean, that's probably what Hollywood did, is they saw a couple of guys dressed like dorks in the atomic age
Yeah.
and said, oh, that's what all nerds look like, and it's just stuck ever since.
Well, and I want to say this with something that I was very happy with. The Big Bang Theory is they really did break that stereotype.
Yes.
They gave nerds a different uniform. And yes, they had their very unique looks that aren't exactly quote unquote cool, but at least they gave us something other than that.
Well,
as
they were a little more
guideline.
accurate too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, like geek shirts
Like
and
all
hats and stuff like
Sheldon's
that.
comic book t-shirts. That's pretty standard attire for folks
I
like
think-
us.
Yeah, and I think
Wallowitz
it's
with the ascot
unfair.
or the Dickie,
I think it's
sorry.
unfair to call it not cool. I mean, that's all personal opinion. I would maybe say Howard's outfits were a little questionable, but
Except for the belt buckles, those are pretty cool.
But I mean, like everyone has their own idea of what's cool. Like I think what do I like? Leonard looks totally fine. I mean,
He looks normal-ish.
But what's normal? You know,
Almost
Right.
yeah. Well, you know what normal is? A preppy vibe.
Is that normal?
not in
though?
my
I would say
world.
that's normal. That is
That's
normal.
not normal. That's not normal for me. And that wouldn't be
Mm-mm.
normal. That wouldn't be normal for
Societally,
you.
I would say it's normal.
Even I wouldn't even go that
I
far.
would.
Yeah, I don't think there is a normal way to dress. I just
Not anymore.
Well,
Yeah.
not anymore. And we're
Yeah.
going to discuss that when we get to the main event, because
yeah.
something I've noticed is there's a certain point in history, well, in modern history, that people don't start dressing the same, and there's several. And we'll get to that when we get to the main event. So real quick before we go on, we gotta talk about our contest. So take it away.
Hey, Geek Rock Stars, it's contest time. We are continuing our 9-week coverage of What If. And during these What If episodes, you have the chance to win some super cool swag from iHeartGeek. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to visit the @iHeartGeek Show on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook, and make sure to comment. And while you're there, you also want to like and follow us as well, so you can hear about all things iHeartGeek. You'll receive an entry for one comment on each channel per episode. So that's a total of 4 entries a week and 36 total by the end of our 9-week contest. So good luck to you, Geek Rock Stars. And remember, keep on geeking on.
So we'll be discussing fashion and how it affects and is affected by the culture. I think a big thing we could talk about is the 70s in general with the hippie culture. That was
60s.
like 60s. It was the ultimate effect. It was the ultimate
mid 60s.
It
when
was
it really
rebellion.
started to shift.
It was rebellion. And that was the effect of the culture, or what did that affect the culture? I mean, the way I dressed changed according to the culture, to what I believed at the time when I was younger. So I don't know, did the culture affect me, or did the yeah. Does that make sense? Wow, I was wordy on that one.
Yeah.
It was like a little circle.
It was. I talked myself in a circle, so there is no question there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So actually, let's put this. What items of clothing do you think affected the culture?
Are we talking the 60s?
Anything.
Anything?
Anywhere.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my gosh. I mean, the obvious would be like the big bell bottoms, stuff like that. The I guess that's not fashion. I was gonna say like the purposely growing out the long hair, shaggy look, the bohemian look.
That's still fashion.
That's fashion.
I guess,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, just
Okay,
because
yeah.
it's not clothes, just because it's not physical clothing. Yeah, I mean, makeup is the change in makeup.
Yeah.
So yeah, run with that thought, Michelle. I like that.
And of course, because of my obsession, so all the big platform shoes, and then there was like the opposite end of the spectrum, which would be like the total kind of like the Birkenstock type sandals and that kind of look. I think was pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What one I want to hit on is bohemian culture, where they had everybody wore, it was like a uniform, the black long sleeve shirt, black pants,
Beatniks.
Beatniks.
That's not bohemian.
Beatniks.
That's not bohemian.
That's beatniks.
That's okay though. We
I
know what
apologize.
you're talking about.
But
we know what you're talking about.
my point being is that was a uniform, so that everybody that was in was part of that, and you couldn't tell anybody apart. So I think that was definitely the fashion creating the culture. We are putting ourselves aside, and this is us, and everybody else isn't.
In both of those time periods that you've mentioned, in the 50s, which is the birth of the beat culture, and then in the 60s, which is the birth of the hippie culture, you have to remember what the youth of, and I mean, this is really kind of an America, United States thing, because it wasn't the same in, say, Europe or elsewhere. I mean, the beat culture kind of went everywhere in the hippie, but those things kind of originated here. You have to remember the youth of that time were trying to express themselves out of the rigid format of, say, the World War II mentality. Women wore, they wore pants, but it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was, it was very strict in how you dressed and what you wore, and how you, 2.5 children in your nuclear family household, and You know, I mean, and you know, so both the Beat generation and the hippie generation were which kind of meshed in the middle. They were rebelling against, it was youth of the day rebelling against what had come before. And so they were using that to distance themselves. Because, you know, I mean, in the 50s, if a woman wore denim, she wore jeans, she was a bad girl. Whether she was a bad girl or not.
She was Pinky Tuscadero.
Only bad girls wore denim. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, it's, but I think fashion has always been that way. It's very much the way a person dresses and expresses themselves is very much a form of rebellion.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Well, between what ages? Are you still dressing for rebellion at this point?
Absolutely.
Yes. Really?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes.
I changed when I left high school on that. Maybe because I'm a guy. I'm like, I don't care anymore. I dress for comfort and what I like, and that's about it. And
that's a form of rebellion.
It's definitely a mishmash of several decades that I dress from. If you all see me on camera, you know.
Yeah, I wear black nail polish. I wear black nail polish in the middle of summer, but I work in a corporate job. That's a form of rebellion. So,
yeah, I wear bright, funky patterns at work, and we're supposed to be a little more rigid, a little more suits and slacks. But because I'm really good at my job, I get away with it. And like, I would wear what I have on today to work. Like, it's bright, funky patterns because that's who I am.
Does it make a difference?
Yeah, it makes a difference on how I feel.
To you? To anyone other than
level,
you?
yes.
Do you think it makes a difference? And I think that's what's important.
Does it need to make a difference to anyone but you?
No, I'm not. I don't think it does. Well, in high school it does for whatever reason.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but none of us are in high school, so
yeah, we're way past that boat.
We're way past that boat.
It's like, for me personally, it doesn't make a difference to me as far as how other people see me. It's how I see myself and what I'm comfortable with. And for the longest time, I hid that. Because of a lot of it was because of my job. It was because of, you know, certain people that were in my life. I hid that because that's what I, you know, kind of felt like I was supposed to do. And so now, like, you kind of, like you're saying, you kind of get away with a lot more. And once you embrace the fashion that you are comfortable with, whether it's your hair or clothes or how you do your makeup or shoes or whatever, then I think, like, I can go to work or I can go out and do whatever I'm doing and feel confident and great about myself, regardless of what, you know, anybody thinks. So I think it has an effect on you personally because you're finally like, this is me and I feel comfortable. You know,
I did not know this was going to be a psychology of episode.
Oh yeah,
it is. So welcome to Psychology of Fashion.
It's kind of important. Actually, it's kind of important on that.
Yeah.
But I do want to ask this question kind of completely off the rails. But what is your favorite clothing era? And it can be different between boy or girl clothes. And why are those your favorite eras? Let's start with Christine on this one. What are your favorite eras for guy or girl or both or whatever?
So 50s, definitely. I love the whole rockabilly feel, the rockabilly era. I still own a ton of rockabilly dresses. I love those little skinny tie suits that the guys wore. Like, I just love that era. It's incredibly sexy to me.
Very good. Courtney, what about you?
30s and 40s. I love the 30s and 40s.
Why?
One, because the silhouettes and the shaping is very flattering to a woman of my build. You know, like if you're built like Jessica Rabbit or Marilyn Monroe, then those kinds of clothes are very flattering to your body type. Plus the heels weren't like spindly high, and because I'm klutzy and I fall to break my neck in really high heels.
So glad
and then in terms of the men, it's kind of like what Christina said. And I mean, men's fashion has changed over the years, but not as much as women. So I mean, like a suit from the 1940s would still be attractive on a man now. And you might not know that it's a suit from the 1940s if you don't, specifically don't know how many buttons they had and the size of the lapels and stuff. But if you dress up a man in a good looking suit, there ain't no way a man can be ugly in a good looking suit from the 40s or the 30s. Just saying.
Fair enough.
And if you put a fedora on him, I will marry you in 30 seconds flat. Just saying.
Michelle, what
In
about
case any of our listeners were wondering.
You can contact Courtney on Twitter and Facebook.
Pictures of suit required.
But
show
you have
a
to have
picture
a
of your
fedora.
suit and your fedora.
You have to have a fedora.
This is a pork pie. Yeah, sorry.
That you've already owned.
If you look
you
like,
don't get to go out and buy one.
Yeah, you can't go out and buy one. And if you look like Humphrey Bogart, it's a bonus.
You got to sing like Sinatra. There you go.
Oh my god. So everyone knows that the 90s are my absolute favorite, the early 90s. Yeah, well, so absolute favorite for pretty much straight across the board. But I will agree with the classic looks of like the 40s and 50s, especially for men. Like some of the suits and then the rockabilly stuff with the jeans and the t-shirts and yeah, that's pretty sexy. So
yep,
those are mine. But yeah, 90s is always gonna, the early 90s is always gonna rule my life. So
very good.
So boys, if you're paying attention, suits, fedoras.
You know how to dress, I guess.
I'm not much of the fedora fan, but like
that's just me. That's me.
Yeah, like I'm more of just I don't know.
All the single ladies. I'm sorry. That was horrible, wasn't it? I apologize for that. Okay, and
just
and
because I think you were slightly off key.
I'm always off key. There's a reason
no
I play bass. I don't sing. I write other people's music. I don't write my own. It's one of those things. Okay, so I have two different eras, and one is for girls, one's for guys. And for the night for guys, I like the 90s, and I like the 50s. I like the time that you gave a crap about what you wore. You wore a suit and everything was all nice.
In the 90s,
huh? But in the 90s, it was comfortable.
We just threw that stuff on.
It was comfortable, and honestly, I mean, it was. I had a great head of hair at the time, and it was a perfect era for me.
You had hair?
So I had great hair. I had fantastic.
I need to see pictures when you've had hair. I've never seen you with hair.
I had fantastic.
You had like
hair.
thick hair.
Wow. My mind is blown on a Saturday.
And then for girls, I'm very into the 50s look. That whole, ultra red lipstick, pencil skirts, all that. I love that kind of look. That's just me. So, let's go to. I'm going to move a question over, but I want to do our listener feedback first.
And now, let's see what all of our geek rock stars have to say.
Okay, so for our listener feedback, I asked, what is your favorite clothing item from anywhere from the 50s to today? And what makes it stand out to you? And I ain't gonna read it. Courtney, would you like to read these today?
I would love to. Not really, but I'll do it anyways.
Thank you.
So you're welcome. So as per usual, you guys, if I do not read yours on air, don't be sad. It's just because we had so many great answers and we don't have enough time to read all of them. So please keep your listener feedback coming. It's great. Even if you don't make it on the air this time, you might next time. So we're going to start with Tanya Reyes Nekadum. I love a short skirt. I am so short and boy-shaped. I know she's a friend of mine. She's literally 5 foot nothing. I like pieces that add proportion to me, like a mini, skater, or tennis skirt. And she likes to put combat boots on that for fun.
I'm in.
Justin, she's pretty rad. You guys would love her. Justin McLean says hats. See, there's the fedoras, you guys. From Stetson to bowlers to cheese cutters to pork pies, all things hats, except baseball caps.
Wrong.
Those are for working in or wearing into a game and nothing else.
Wrong.
Yeah. It's his opinion.
It is. It's valid. If y'all seen my profile picture, I'm wearing a nice baseball hat, so it looks good.
Yeah. And so our very own Tyler Romaine is going to close us out with the t-shirt. Nothing too exciting, I know, but it can be utilized in a majority of situations, from working in the field to a casual company party. They go with just about everything, can be printed with any any message you wish to express to the public, and some even have pockets. I like that answer, especially because if you want one printed with the I Heart Geek Show logo or the Geek Rockstar, you could get one just by going to iHeartGeekShow.com. And that's our listener feedback.
Wow, we'll always put a commercial in, won't we?
I don't know.
Shameless.
I think I just need to drink a cup of coffee before we do these shows every morning.
So now I want to ask you guys the same question. So what is that one piece of clothing, no matter what era? I mean, it can even go through the eras. What is that one piece of clothing that, that makes the outfit no matter what? Let's start with Michelle on this one. I have a feeling I know what you're going to say on that one.
I know what she's going to say too.
Shoes.
That was so ashamed sounding. Don't be ashamed of it. Shout it out proud.
I brought samples.
Ooh.
I have a closet full,
Which
and
means
it's ever increasing. And thanks to Courtney and I's conversation last night, I have yet another pair on the way. I can't help it. It's not a problem. I could stop anytime.
You lie.
Mm-hmm.
She's not she could quit anytime she wanted, but she's not a quitter.
There you go.
I was funny in my head.
Finish what you start. That's what I always learned. Courtney, what about you? What is that piece?
Well, I have a piece of clothing that I wear almost with everything, but I'll save that for later. But I'm gonna say a nice jacket or blazer, because like with Tyler's t-shirt comment, if you're wearing jeans and a t-shirt, if you throw a blazer on top of it, you just immediately upped your game a little bit. Or you could put a blazer with a dress if you're a woman. Well, if you're a man, you could do it too. But yeah, I mean, and it serves a purpose if you're cold. You can take it off. I mean, yeah, I'll say a nice jacket or a blazer.
Very good. Christina?
Fitted pants, man or woman. Baggy pants just are not attractive. I think that's that one piece of clothing, whether it's jeans, fitted slacks. I think it just elevates your whole look and takes it to a new level.
Very
and
good.
I'm really short, so I learned very early on that fitted pants actually made me appear taller than I was, versus wearing like the baggy, like 80s MC Hammer pants. No, I look like an Oompa Loompa.
So I'm kind of on the same as you, but I'm going to say jeans in general. I feel better when I'm wearing a good pair of jeans, no matter what era I was in, except for the 80s, because acid wash jeans are of the devil. They're ugly. They're horrible. That's the worst thing from the 80s.
It's definitely not the worst thing from the 80s. But
shoulder pads.
I would say 80s wash jeans aren't bad if it's just one acid washed denim item. When you have the people who are dressed in the jacket,
the Canadian tuxedo, yep.
Yeah, well, and I distinctly remember in the 90s, Justin Timberlake and Britney Spears, when they were together, wearing an entire
their
denim
little
outfit.
twin outfit.
Yeah, so we're just
that was creepy in every single way.
That was a fashion no-no.
Dear couples, it's creepy anytime you do that.
Yeah.
I'm sure Britney looks back.
Don't do that.
Sean, pay attention.
Right. I'm sure Britney looks back and goes, "Oh my God, what was I thinking?"
Well, I think she looks back and says that about a lot of things.
Probably.
So I don't think that's even
we
high
love
on the
you, Britney.
list. Leave Britney alone.
I love Britney. Leave her alone.
Okay, so let's see. Next question. This is important for throughout your life and today. Comfort or appearance? Courtney, let's start with you on that one.
I need both, man.
Nope,
both.
you got to pick one. What is more important? What's more important?
I'm old. It's comfort now.
Old.
You're younger than me. Shut up.
Not very much. But yeah, no. I mean, I still want to look good, so like my comfy stuff looks good. But when I look at shoes, and we had like shoes especially, and Miss Michelle and I had this conversation last night. We like our shoes to look good, but we also need them to be comfortable, especially with ladies who wear high heels because we stand on them a lot.
Yeah.
And if my feet hurt, I'm gonna be grouchy, and y'all don't want me to be grouchy.
How can you? As a guy, I got to ask this question: how are you not uncomfortable in high heels?
Depends on the high heel.
Oh
Yeah.
God,
Absolutely.
It's amazing how the difference can be between, you know, two heels that could be the exact same height. It's just how they're built. If there's
How they're
if there's
structured,
like
yep.
if there's like a little platform in the front that helps because it helps keep your foot at more of a straight angle.
Yeah.
It could be the
Yeah.
heel.
Yeah, it
It's
just depends
amazing.
on how they're constructed.
Yeah.
I will say for a little fashion history, high heels were actually originally created for men.
really?
Yep.
Mhm.
I'm glad that changed. There's no
With their
I know
tights.
men who
Yeah,
I have
they
I have
tights and-
platforms on. I'm not gonna lie, but no high heels. I draw the line there.
were originally created for men.
Okay, fair enough.
It really lifts your bum. Just saying.
Yep.
It accentuates your butt and your chest. That's why they're, the higher they go.
I'm not
If
complaining.
you ever seen the movie Kinky Boots, they explain all about it.
All of it. Yep.
Christina, what about you?
God help me. I'm gonna say appearance. Like,
Really? Okay.
It's funny. Like I messed up both my ankles in 2009. And I will search high and low for really cute vintagey shoes because they have better support. But it has to look good. So I am going to, and if I'm going to an event, especially if all my frenemies are there, I'll take 10 Advil to get through the night just so I
Oh,
look
yeah.
good. Like there's no doubt about it.
If you ever see a woman leaning against a wall or holding onto a chair in an event and she's wearing high heels, it's just because we're trying to take pressure off of our feet.
Mm-hmm.
While
She's in
still
pain.
looking purty.
Yep.
Michelle, what about you?
I'm going to say comfort, but I say that present outfit excluded because this is obviously comfortable. like for work and stuff, if I'm shopping for clothes, they not only have to, like, I'm going to be attracted to what they look like, but if they're not comfortable, I won't wear them because I'm not going to sit at my desk or walk around in something that I feel, gross in. And that goes for shoes too.
Fair enough. And I'm a guy and I run a geek podcast. What do you think? It's definitely for comfort.
Totally
Now,
appearance.
but with that being said, like when I do high profile security gigs, I have to look a certain part, but I'm pretty good about making that comfortable with because I got to wear a suit and it's got to be baggy enough that I can keep my protective pieces on me.
Security necessary
tools.
items.
There you go. Because I don't want YouTube to shut me down for saying the G word.
Stuff.
Yes. Y'all know what it is. Or when I'm doing media
Pew,
stuff, I
pew.
have to wear all black and it's got to be comfortable because I run back and forth all day long. So yeah, it's got to be comfort for me. That's a really big deal.
I have a friend, I'll give her a shout out. Her name is Marina. She's a hairdresser. And her thing when she wakes up in the morning is she looks in the mirror and she says, who do I want to be today?
Ooh, I like that.
And that's what informs how she does her makeup, how she does her hair, and what she wears for the day. And I think a lot of people, that's what we do with our clothes is we wake up in the morning and we decide, well, I want to be like, in terms of a girl, it's like, I want to be a pinup model today, or I want to be comfy grunge girl, and so I think the cool thing about fashion is you can mix all those different things into one being.
Yeah. Well, see, this is where girls do have the advantage because a girl can, all girls are attractive, okay, but you could definitely improve how attractive you are as a girl. As a guy, you're pretty much stuck. You can grow a beard. A beard is makeup for a guy. That's all we have. That's
Guys
it.
can wear makeup.
Men have makeup.
It doesn't look
you
good.
even have
It
your
doesn't
own
look
brands.
good.
Oh,
It
I don't
doesn't look
know.
good.
There are some guys who do look really
they
good.
always look like a fish or Ken.
No.
That's what they
No.
always look like every time I've seen a guy in
No.
makeup.
I've
There are
seen
some
guys-
talented makeup artist men out there.
There are
who've
some
got it
very
I haven't seen it.
men that rock
I
have.
eyeliner.
One of them does my hair.
Thank you,
I'm just
Christina.
saying.
I was gonna say that because Guy liner on a guy. Woo!
I have not worn
Hot.
guy liner since I was in a band, and that's the only time I will ever wear it because that's just one of those things.
You know,
Yeah.
eyeliner on a guy.
Because I hate the tear line, to be honest.
If it's done right, woo!
I can't
Better
do a
than
tear
a
line.
fedora.
I just want to die.
Mm-hmm. It's
Okay,
yummy.
So with that awkwardness out of the way, let's move on to the main event.
Now it's time for the main event.
So we are going to discuss our favorite fashion items by decade. So we're not doing our top 5 lists. So get over it. We're going to start with the 50s. And let's hear what are some of your favorite items from the 50s as far as clothing goes. And I want to start this one. And honestly, girl makeup from the 50s is like my favorite makeup style next to like the goth girls. Yeah.
It's his eye candy.
That's the whole rockabilly look thing that all derives from. I love the makeup from the 50s, but I've already mentioned my love of the 50s. What are some of your favorite fashion items from the 50s? Whoever wants to go first.
I'll go
Rockabilly.
first.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Never mind. Christina, go first.
I was gonna say rockabilly dresses
Yeah.
and big hats. I friggin' love it. I friggin' love it. I still do it, and I don't care who people look at me and they're like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, suck it up.
Michelle, you had some?
Same kind of. I love like the T-length, like the swing dresses. The little. Oh God, they do it for me. They're so cute. So yeah, if I had my way, I would have a closet full of them.
Yeah.
And they're super flattering if you're short.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, they're
it's
really
got-
pretty.
And curvy. Short and curvy.
Yes.
Courtney,
is
you got
that.
any?
Wiggle dresses, which is where your pencil skirt love comes in. Because those are the fitted dresses, and they're the ones with the very fitted
Gotcha.
legs on them, and peep toe shoes, because I love peep toe high heel shoes, because I like to pretend I'm Betty Grable most of the time.
Oh.
Just in general.
Yeah, just in general. Sometimes I'm Jane Russell, sometimes I'm Betty Grable, sometimes I'm Lucille Ball and I fall down the stairs. So.
More
That
like
was me, my
more
scene
often than
from-
not. You're Lucille
More
Ball.
likely, yeah. Most of the time I'm Lucille Ball, and I Vita Vita Vegemin and that stuff. So.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, the shoes from the 50s were fantastic for guys. You know, they had the saddleback shoes, the black and white saddleback shoes, which
Wingtips.
I'm wearing a
Oh,
version of
yeah.
those now. That is awesome. Okay, so let's move on to the 60s. The 60s is kind of a weird era because it was kind of the beginning of the hippie movement, but it wasn't there yet. The
It
bright
was the
colors
beginning of
weren't there.
It was the beginning
Well,
of
I
the
look at
hippie
it as
movie.
the 70s as more being in that hippie movement era.
My mom was a hippie, so I know exactly when it started.
Oh, 67, because that's Woodstock. So yeah, I guess.
Well, it was a little bit before that too. It was about 65, 66 is when the hippie movement started, because they were rebelling against the confining and constricting clothing of the 50s.
Yeah. And the Beatles era, that was
Elvis, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Rolling
Janis
Stones,
Joplin, Stones.
Janice. Yeah.
But you have to and think of what was going on at the time too. Like, what was influencing that rebellion too was, the war,
Vietnam. Yep.
politics, all of that stuff was also a huge influence on that.
The civil rights movement. Yeah. I mean, history played as Michelle said, history played a huge part in what people dress like. So
I gotta say, one of my favorite things is the round glasses, the John Lennon glasses. I've loved those since I was a kid. I still own like 50 pair of them. I love them. They're the best. So what other clothing items do you love, or even do you not love from this era?
I say from the 60s, I loved like all the mod kind of fashion, like the mod dresses, the colorful, there's just patterns and prints and tights, and cool shoes and things like that were prominent, and like colors that you know, I wouldn't even think that I would like the oranges and the rusty kind of colors and the yeah. So and so like I brought this shoe
For our audio
bulldog
listeners,
shoe.
it's an orange shoe.
You have to watch.
So stuff like that, like, you know, was my favorite, just my favorite look then.
Pretty good. Courtney, what about you?
I liked the long Floyd Duster coats that a lot of hippie women wore with the fur around the edges.
Okay, yeah.
Think of like the one that Robin Wright wears one in Forrest Gump. Yeah,
I love that
dressed
coat.
my mom dressed a lot like the character of Jenny in the 60s when she was in the 60s. And then, but I also love the those Nancy Sinatra boots that come up to your knee.
Oh,
the boots,
these
the
boots are
go-go
made for
the go-go
walking. Yeah, the go-go
boots.
boots.
I love the go-go boots. Yeah, those were my favorite.
Those are still in style, thank God. So,
yeah. So are the
I
those
may have
coats.
some.
So I
I'm
mean,
just saying.
yeah, no, I might have some. But anyways,
Christina?
For me, it's the bohemian field jackets. I probably currently own about 32 of them. Not kidding. But like this, the flowy, the lightweight, the one that moves and breathes when you walk, and you just feel pretty, and you feel like somebody should have a fan going on you when you're. Like, it just feels like a moment.
She feels like Beyonce,
right? Right. I love the colors, and I love the feel.
Nice. Yeah, this is a weird. I gotta discuss something that I hated from the 60s and early 70s, and that is, and something that lasted all the way through the 90s, patchouli oil. It reeks. Sorry. Yes, it covers up your pot. It stinks. Stop it.
So bad. Does it really though? Does it really?
No.
Yes.
No.
I work in property management. I guarantee
Oh,
No,
you
it doesn't cover it.
No, it doesn't. You
It
think it
doesn't
does
cover
because you're so high.
I've
You're so high
heard.
enough
Well,
to think patchouli
I've
oil
heard it
smells
doesn't
good.
cover it.
well, and let's be honest, whenever anybody smells patchouli, we know you're getting high.
Yeah, and incense, strawberry incense.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, strawberry specific.
I don't know. I have a friend who kind of loves, it's like seriously, she loves patchouli oil, and she doesn't.
We're not shaming
Partake.
patchouli.
I am. I totally am. Do not put it on your body.
Okay,
It
not
stinks.
all of us are.
It reeks.
Not all of
It's
us are
bad.
shaming patchouli.
You can send your hate email to.
Or love email, whichever one, or just show me a picture of you burning your patchouli oil. I'm good with that too.
Then it would
Then it's-
really smell.
Then it's gonna
Oh,
release
yeah,
in
that
the air.
would
No,
help.
don't do that. Don't do that. Just throw it away. Whew. Okay. Wow. I did not know I felt that passionate about that. Okay, let's go to the 70s. And I think there's two things that we can hit in the 70s, and that's more the psychedelic clothes and
That would be
disco.
the 60s.
Yeah,
Well,
we're back in the 60s.
Psychedelic is 60s. It's literally called the psychedelic 60s.
I always feel like it's the 70s is there. I
You
don't know
never
why.
watched Austin
You can
Powers?
feel
Did you?
that. Right.
Okay, so Brady Bunch era clothes and disco
60s.
clothes. How's that?
60s.
That was 70s. Bobby was close to my age. Shut up.
Wow, we're off.
That was
the rails.
73, wasn't it?
We're off the rails. Let's
We are
put it back
completely
on
off
the
the
rails.
Okay, so 70s clothes in general. So I guess we're going to be talking about disco, a lot of disco, and there's nothing I liked about the disco era. It was
The
bad.
70s wasn't all disco. You've got
Wasn't all disco.
bell bottoms. You've got like the
60s.
mini skirts were huge. Thank you very much for that. We've got
Right.
tie dyes. I mean, tie dye was huge. Peasant
The beach
like
era. The beach era really exploded.
peasant shirts.
Mm.
You know, if you're a Seinfeld fan, the poet shirt.
Medallions, lots of medallions and chest
Lots
hair.
of medallions.
Like
Lots of
Yes.
chest hair, yeah.
And porn stashes.
There you
Oh,
go.
Yes,
Magnum PI stashes, but that's kind of 80s.
That was 80s.
that's 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a show
Magnum
on
had-
that before. Yeah.
Magnum had an epic mustache.
I'm jealous. I am.
Mhm.
Every day of my life, I said, how can I make my stash more like Magnum's?
Well, and they always had those in the 70s. Also had the really cool platforms. You know, like the really high platforms.
High platforms.
Mhm.
Yeah, and sometimes they had stuff in the heels, like those.
Well, I got to do mine. too.
Yes.
See, now that's as much of a platform as I get. Instead, I do the black and white.
See, and
But
that's
yeah, that's
one
as
of
much
the-
of a platform as I
Amateurs.
get.
Yeah.
Amateurs.
I
But
will
yeah,
dress
like,
for
they would
comfort.
have-
What do you want
They
from
would
me?
have.
I'm already kind of tall.
These are really
Yeah.
comfortable.
I'm not
Yeah,
short. I don't need 4 inches of platform.
I will
Hey.
say, the 70s, and this is probably get a bunch of hate, but there were a lot of unfortunate fashion choices in the 70s.
Oh my
a lot
gosh.
of unfortunate.
Corduroy,
But, like,
flat front pants. Oh,
Yeah, what I did love, and this was for the ladies, was the handkerchief dresses.
Yeah.
And
Those
for
are
the listeners
cute.
who don't know what they
Never
are,
liked
it
those.
literally looked like. Well, and I mean, you probably are thinking of only in the terms of somebody taking handkerchiefs and putting them together and making a big long dress. The handkerchief dresses cover a wide spectrum. I actually
Yes.
have one that's all black, and it looks like, I mean, the top part is a handkerchief, and the bottom part is a separate dress kind of thing, skirt thing. So I mean, there was a lot of, but they're also very comfortable. Like, that's one thing I will say for the 70s clothing is a lot of it, especially for women, was just, it was comfortable. It was
Yeah.
free flowing. It moved with you, especially in the disco era. It moved with you when you were dancing. So, I mean, there was a lot, and there's a lot of fringe. And I mean, while some of it was unfortunate in material and color choice, there was a lot to be said about where fashion was moving forward to in terms of comfort and style mixing together.
Well, and that's where you got like the really big explosion, right? Of like bohemian fashion that was like that. It was flowy, and it was all these little earthy patterns, and so much of that is still popular right now.
Yeah.
Like I still
Yeah.
have, I love some of that still.
Yeah, and I think that's when like the beach generation really started grabbing a hold of like that boho style and giving it a beachy feel to it. So like you had like the little bikini bottoms that had like the little shimmer shake that would flow, and you had the unbelievably wonderful men's surf sets. Wendell thinks I'm terrible for loving them, but you know, the little striped shirts, little matching surf shorts.
Wearing your
I thought
OPs.
those, your OPs. I thought they were adorable, and I think the Beach Boys in particular really made it a very fashion forward thing with merging bohemian with beach. So, and in case you haven't noticed, I love bohemian.
Okay, let's move on to just one unfortunate fashion choice of the decade, the 80s.
It's a matter of opinion.
Okay,
Again.
well, let's see. We have a lot of shoulder pads. We have
Okay,
Don
well,
Johnson.
yeah.
I mean, Don Johnson. That is a fashion choice. Don Johnson is a fashion choice. Unfortunately, I
but-
followed that one for a minute.
I will
Right,
give you
that
shoulder
was-
pads. I will give you shoulder pads because those are like some of the worst things ever.
No
that they could have
socks with your
put
dress shoes.
for women.
Yeah, not a fan.
Yeah.
So
But look at what you had in the 80s. You had
Hypercolor, which was cool. The start of the gimmick era.
Hypercolors.
Start of the gimmick era.
Hypercolor, I think Hypercolor was in the 90s.
Late 80s.
It was
I
late
had one in
80s,
junior
90s.
high.
But you
Yeah.
also have to remember those were not good for women.
Well,
No.
that's a matter of opinion.
Well, I personally didn't like walking
Dad.
around. I didn't like walking around with 2 giant chain spots on my shirt.
You always have a
So I
handprint
wore
somewhere on you.
I wore that to school one time, and that was the only time I wore it because it was an unfortunate fashion choice for a woman that was built like Jessica Rabbit. That's all I have to say.
Oh, I did
I'm
love.
just not. I'm
I
gonna
did
stop.
love stirrup leggings because
I
you
hated
could
those things.
see. I loved them because we would hook them under our heels, and wear the heel kind of on the inside, and then the big oversized like upside down t-shirts. So yeah, t-shirts, we would flip them upside down, roll them down off our shoulders.
Oh,
Did you do like?
no,
did you
no,
do like
no.
the tie? Did you tie the knot like on the side
Yep.
too? Like yeah. So you have this
Oh.
giant T-shirt, and then you tie it up to make it smaller.
Yep.
What I loved in the 80s was those sweaters that had you had one shoulder and then they would fall off the other.
The fame one, yeah.
Yes,
Those are
I
like the
love
tank top-
those.
the
I
tank top
love
under.
those.
Yeah.
Yes, that was
So-
my jam.
What else did the 80s give us? They gave us leg warmers. They gave lots of leg warmers. They gave us belts with spandex, which I never understand to this day. The Jane Fonda workout, let's be honest, ruined the 80s for me.
Yeah, we don't want to know in what way.
I'm
No,
sure
not
she's
in
I'm
any
sure
bad
she's
way.
completely broken up about that.
I'm sure she is.
sad.
I
We
said
had,
way
like,
worse
all
things
the-
about Jane Fonda. Trust me.
We had all the little rubber bracelets that you would like collect.
I love
like,
that. That's
thousands.
that was fun.
Jellies
Ma-
were from the devil.
Thank you, Madonna.
Yes,
Jelly
it's like
shoes.
the whole
Remember
Oh,
The
whole Madonna.
blister shoes.
blister shoes.
the
Wait,
whole
what were
yeah.
blister shoes?
Jellies.
I think that's what we're calling
Oh, I
jelly
hated
shoes. I think
those.
that's what
I
they're calling
hated
jelly
those.
shoes.
No.
Well, and then thong shoes. We call them thongs. Not the
Flip flops.
That was back before they were called flip flops.
We always call them thongs. I don't know.
Yeah, they were thongs before
They were
thongs
thongs.
were thongs.
That's where
and
they got the
flip-flops were
name for the
flip-flops.
other thing, for the whale tail.
Slippers. Slippers.
Oh, and tankinis.
Did we get
Tankinis.
tankinis in the 80s?
I had
was-
3 of them.
Okay.
Oh,
Are
okay,
those
cool.
the ones that were like attached at the side to the
Yep.
to the bottoms? Yeah, I had
Yep.
one of those. I had one
Yep.
of those. Remember that? But then we had like all the neon colors, leggings,
Yeah.
t-shirts, the cool shoes. Like there were some really cool. Like it was a big tennis shoe, like sneaker kind of era.
Yeah.
You had the high tops.
Did Vans start in the 80s?
They didn't start. They were in the 70s, but they were big in the 80s.
They got big in the
Yeah.
80s.
Okay, then
we
I'm
had
gonna
like
say
LA
I'm-
gear.
Yep, LA
Lots
gear.
of shoes. Yeah.
I'm gonna say Vans because I still wear Vans to this day. Like they are my go-to shoe.
I've never liked slip-ons.
I don't wear the
Chucks too.
I still
slip-on
have
version.
my Converse. Like, I
There's
have
more than just
several pairs
slip-on
of
Vans.
Converse.
Yeah, Chucks
Yeah,
really
she's
started
right.
in the 80s
Well,
too,
Chucks
so.
Chucks have never went out of style since the day
Right,
they
but
came
the
out, I
bright
don't think.
colored
Never.
Chucks were from the 80s.
Yeah.
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 And rainbow boots. Rainbow boots.
And I want to mention Swatch Watch, and something that
Oh yeah.
I think that's very important that came into a lot of as a fashion choice in the late 80s became huge was Doc Martens.
Yeah.
Oh, hair, mall hair.
Yep.
Oh, bangs. Hey, I was taller in the 80s. It
Yeah, like
was
Did you have,
hair.
did you have
5,
the
6
swoop
inches
bang
taller.
thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Oh.
swoop bang thing. Whew.
I think the 80s is personally responsible for the ozone layer dying. It's just one of those things.
The Aquanet era.
Oh my
Aquanet
gosh, so
and
bad.
Aussie. You do the Aquanet and then you do the Aussie to make it smell better because the Aussie was expensive.
See, I was the
I have-
Aquanet kid. Yeah, I don't know.
Lots of aerosol cans, just saying. Lots
Sorry.
of them. Okay, now let's move on to the 90s, which this is the era that everything split off. There wasn't a style. I mean, if people look back, well, it was the grunge era. Yeah, but it was also like the urban cowboy era, and it was the metalhead era, and it was post hippie era, and it was a little bit of everything in the 90s. It's when you dress for your group, not for your generation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think any generation before that had really done that as much. You dress for the group you're in, not for the
Yeah, because
Like-
even in school, we had, you had the kind of grungy kids, and you had the metal kids, and you had like the preppy kids. And you're right, because you could look at each group like out on the quad or in the cafeteria, and it was very distinctive. There was very rarely like any kind of crossover from that.
You could choose
But-
to. I did.
You could choose to. Yeah, you could
I'd
choose.
flip back and forth every few months. I'm not gonna lie. I was a total sellout. I don't care what they say.
It's like, I just want to be cool.
I never
but
was. Yeah.
My favorite, in the 90s was like, I think my favorite outfit was like this dress. Like I had this long dress that my mom had made, because that was big, like floral prints and long dresses, but you put your combat boots with it. And
I
then like I
loved
would
that
wear,
look so much. I don't.
and then I
think you
had the
understand.
hoodie. Like I had my hoodie that I wore. I had a boyfriend that stole that. If you're out there, you send it to me. Anyway, so then
I love it.
yeah, that was my favorite. Then you could just throw on whatever, the flannel shirts and the leggings or the jeans with the boots and
And there was a lot
or a
of
skirt.
unisex clothes then. I remember getting clothes from girlfriends and girlfriends taking my clothes a lot.
Yep.
I'm like, and I don't think it really worked that well. Maybe some in the 80s, but before that, I mean, it was very different. I think.
Maybe that's where like the hoodie, stealing your boyfriend's hoodie came from. But like in but in the 90s, yeah, it was, you could easily switch and change like your shirts and shoes and stuff like that.
Weird.
By the time this era hit, I was a mommy. And so for me, I loved scrunchies because it was pull up and go. But God help me, I had like 5 pair of those Oingo Boingo overall shorts with the tight tank top and my hair pulled up because I still felt pretty. And they were short, so they weren't dragging. I wasn't dusting the pavement with them because petite fashion has never been a real big thing until the 90s when they started doing things that were more like, buy the petite style. So, yeah. With the one overall strap down.
Of course.
I had that.
A girl with
the
boobs
cross
than
color
it
shirt.
does.
Yeah.
I forgot about the overall craze.
Oh, that was big for like 3 weeks, and it was a bad 3 weeks, and I owned a pair. Oh, I'm so ashamed of myself. In
I never.
So many
I don't
ways.
think I ever wore the overalls.
I didn't
think
either.
I did.
I was never an overall girl, but I knew it was a thing. But I was never an overall girl. I was in the 90s. It's kind of the style that I still wear today, to be honest with you. But it was either Doc Martens or Vans, a pair of ripped up jeans, and a solid color tank top. And occasionally I would throw a flannel on that, as a nod to the crispy Seattle weather. Growing up in Las Vegas. And I wore the heavy grunge girl makeup and
the dark eyes,
the chola makeup, because I hung out with a lot of the Mexican girls in high school. But it was tank tops. Sometimes it was a band t-shirt, but most of the time it was a solid color tank top, some ripped up jeans, and either Vans or Doc Martens. That was my dress code for much
band
of the
shirts
90s.
is something that has never went out of style in any of these eras from the 60s on. That's a teenage rite of passage. I think I still have too many.
I love band shirts. I don't wear
shirts.
them a lot, but I love them. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah,
I like podcast shirts now because I'm old.
Which you can also get if you go to
www.iheartgeekshow.com. Use the com. We paid extra for it. While you're at it, if you've gotten this far in the episode, hit the subscribe button. I think that this conversation, I've humiliated myself enough. I deserve your subscription.
It's amazing.
Hit the subscribe button.
We're going for the pity vote now.
I will take any subscribe click I can get. I don't care if it's pity. I don't care if it's because you like the show. I don't care if it's to get me to shut up. Just hit the stupid thing. Anyway, so let's get on to the double aughts and on. Again, this is an era that I'm just really not happy with again. I like what I wear now because I think everything's in style, but this whole skinny jeans thing, I don't get it. It's not comfortable. No, thank you for guys. I don't get it. No.
I used to think that way. And then I bought some last year or whatever. So comfortable.
Yeah.
Am I like the only one in the room? Okay.
No.
Okay. So comfortable.
I like a guy in a good pair of skinny jeans.
Yeah, it won't make me mad. If
but
it's
I'm
done
married
right.
to Sean, so I settle for cowboy cut.
If it's done right. And that goes for men and women. If it's done right, I will not be mad if you wear those.
So what else from this current era do we want to hit on? That's because I'd say it's hard because nothing's really out of style at this point. You can get away with anything. You can get away with neon at this point. You can get away with goth. You can get away with a lot of grunge stuff still. Doc Martens are always in style.
Yep.
Because they're the coolest shoes in the world.
I wear these now.
Those are cool. She has to throw another pair of shoes out. That's amazing.
She's got great shoes.
It wouldn't be me
fantastic shoes.
Yeah. I think one thing we didn't touch on, which is really, really interesting, is if you look at, say, the 80s was a mashup of 80s clothes with 40s clothes.
Yes, we were talking about that
So,
before.
in the 90s, we were
70s. So 60s and 70s.
Yeah, we were 60s and 70s mixed up with our own kind of style. So, I mean, I think now in the 2000s, I'll say 10s to 20s,
20s.
it's just a free for all. You can mix whatever you want, however you want to do it.
It's a lot of the 90s because, as I said, we had all that separation of clothing and everything was cool to somebody. I think we're back to that era.
Yeah.
And there's actually not as much judgment on fashion in that, I mean, even the super rich fashion, I don't think exists nearly as much. I'm not paying $50 for a t-shirt anymore.
Yeah, you're not, but they still sell them. They absolutely still sell them. I think probably the most
for 3 weeks, and then they go on sale for like $20 in the
I think the most pretentious thing that came out of the double O's were the camisoles and the boob belts. Ladies, do you remember those? Like,
I don't remember the boob belts, but I remember
you wear
the
right
camisoles.
under. You wear the belt right under your boobs to make them pop.
Oh, I don't need that.
Right. I think that's why we don't know, because the three of us don't need that.
Right. But I had girlfriends
listeners.
I had girlfriends that wore them, little sisters that wore them. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I'm creating my waist.
No, your waist is at your waist. It's not over your belly.
Your waist is not up here.
No, I'm like, it elongates my torso. I was like, stop the madness.
Because of pirates. That's what it is. It's pirates.
I will say the double aughts brought those super, super low rise jeans. Which
I'd leather pants.
I'm fine with low rise because I have a short torso and they fit like regular jeans on me instead of being under my neck. But these super, super low rise ones, if I have to pray to God that I don't sneeze or my pants will fall off, then I can't get down on that. Like
definitely more comfort than appearance. There you go.
The skinny girls who wore them, more power to you. You looked awesome. Me personally, if I breathed wrong, everybody was going to see stuff they didn't need to see.
And you better hope you didn't drop anything.
Like and
that you had to bend over.
Remember when those girls were wearing the super low rise jeans? I was in my 30s when they were doing this, so I was like, I'm done with y'all. But you had to pull your underwear straps up higher on your hip,
the whale tail,
your underwear strip. Well, it wasn't just necessarily that one, because there's not just the whale tail and granny panties. There's a spectrum, which you should know. But
don't ask what I know and not know on this.
We're learning a lot about you, Deb. But you had to pull those out, quiet. And then I'm thinking of like the Christina Aguilera Dirty video where you had to see like the underwear strap up and above her low rise jeans, and I never understood that, but I'm an old lady, so that's probably why.
But I also don't like
that.
I don't like the guys that sag either. I think that's ridiculous as well.
If you did that, more power to you. I'm sure you looked fabulous. I just never understood it.
Yeah, I will say too, in the double aughts, corsets started coming back, and corsets are sexy. I don't care. Yeah, I just think they are freaking sexy. So
yeah, there's nothing wrong with that on the planet.
Nope.
And on that note, that's a show. Check out all our social media stuff. You heard the commercial in the beginning. It tells you how to sign up for our contest. Do it for the What If series.
Do it.
It's fun. You get a free shirt and stuff. And until next time, I'm Dub. I'm here with Christina. I'm here with Michelle. I'm here with Courtney. Keep on geeking on, kids.
I love that you have your shoe.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.